Peregrine, daughter of the well-known ornithologist Professor Octavia Peregrine, was a real bird brain. At the age of 3, Agnes could do the courtship dance of the blue-footed booby. At the age of 5, Agnes could imitate the flight of the yellow-bellied sapsucker. But it wasn't until Agnes was 8 that her greatest skills were revealed. 2 days into a bird-watching trip in Borneo, a shriek pierced through the jungle air. Eek, eek, eek. Agnes's mother, Professor Peregrine, whipped out her binoculars. Did you hear that? Why, that was the call of the golden-footed leaf bird.
You mean this?
Caw, caw, eek, eek, eek. Out of thin air, a flock of leaf birds fluttered to the ground. Why, Agnes, you have a true talent for bird calling.
I do. Oh, I really do.
Ever since I was little, I had always been fascinated by birds. I had dreamed of flying over the world and seeing things from a bird's eye view. Agnes Peregrine, curious and intelligent, shares the same passions as I do. In this heartwarming story, we are reminded that it is important to always follow your dreams, no matter what challenges you may face. So, follow me as we soar through her story in When Agnes Calls by Candace Fleming. Agnes practiced her skills wherever she went. On the African savannah, she called to the great hornbill. Squawk! 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 In the rainforest of New Guinea, she called to the sulfur-chested cockatoo. Veek, veek. And in New York City, Central Park, she called to the ruby-throated hummingbird. Agnes's talents made bird watching easy. It also made news. Reporters, photographers, nature lovers all went a-Twitter over this little girl. But the greatest honor came from the World Bird Society. Its members voted to send the Peregrines off in search of the rarest, the most elusive bird of all, the pink-headed duck. Spotting that duck will be a challenge. Why, it hasn't been seen in decades.
I bet I can call it, and I bet it'll come.
There's only one problem, dear. Nobody knows what the pink-headed duck sounds like.
Well, then I better get quacking.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the Atlantic, Colonel Edwin Pitsnap, avid bird, sat in his country manor house. Around him were spoils of his many hunts. Grouse were mounted on the mantle. Pheasants under glass served as end tables. Every nook and cranny was crammed with dead birds. And still, the colonel craved more. Now Pitsnap opens up his newspaper to read about the Peregrines. Say, pink-headed duck! Oh, I've so longed to get my hands on one of those. But how? How? It is deliciously crafty. It is suburbanly cunning. It is sure to work. The Peregrines also packed, and then they set off on their trek. By ship, by train, chugga-chugga, choo-choo, and by yak. Until at last they reached the far-off slopes of the Himalayan mountains, home to the rare pink-headed duck. As soon as they pitched camp, Agnes started cawing. Little did she know that, cleverly hidden behind a nearby slope, Colonel Edwin Pitsnap watched and waited. Day after disappointing day, Agnes called. Dozens of birds responded, but alas, not one pink-headed duck.
This is for the birds! Ouch! Ouch! Ow! Ouch! Ow! Ouch! Ow! Ouch! Ow! Ouch! Ow! Ouch! Ow!
The Peregrines looked up. Overhead flew the rarest, the most elusive bird of all, the pink-headed duck.
Ouch! Ow! Ouch! Ow! Ouch! Ow!
Oh, no! Whoosh! I got the duck. The Peregrines were stunned. Where did he come from?
I have no idea.
Hey, that is my duck.
That is my duck.
She charged after him. Agnes! She charged after her daughter. Agnes found herself on a distant slope, closing in on the pit snap. Boldly, she took a step into view.
Give me that duck!
Wow! My, what a surprise! I came to catch the pink-headed duck, and by surprise, caught the golden-throated bird collar too! Got the birds for my collection!
I won't! You can't make me!
I have a way of making you squawk! Agnes knew by the look on his face that he meant business. There was only one thing to do.
Cheep, chirp, quack, cock-a-doodle-doo, hoot, hoot, squawk, 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 eek, eek, squawk, squawk, squawk!
In a wing's beat from all corners of the world, birds replied. Hundreds and hundreds of them. They rose from their roosts, and they soared through the skies. In a cacophony of angry cries, they surrounded the colonel. You little fool! You got too many! Grouse buzzed him. Pheasants bombarded him. Around and around the birds swirled, nipping, pecking, poking, scolding. Around and around from Colonel Pitsnap, weaving, crouching, swatting, and dodging. And watching it all was Agnes. Suddenly, into a fray came Professor Peregrine. Agnes! What happened?
He asked me to call the birds, so I did.
In that very moment, the bird pet colonel let out a tremendous "Ah!" and made a mad dash down the mountain. The birds swarmed after him. Well done.
Thanks, Ma. But it really was the birds that did it.
Gently, they untangled the pink-headed duck from the net. Then, waddling on webbed feet to reach a flying speed, the duck took to the world and winged its way over the horizon.
Wow.